Councillors, if we can all just get ready to start. But what I wanted to say firstly is, can we please ensure that when we use the microphone and we're no longer using it, that we turn it off, as causing some issues with the camera on the stream. So just remember to not just do that or whatever, we need to turn it off. Everybody get that? Good, excellent. All right, we're just about ready to start. Not quite yet though. Councillors, can I have your attention, please? I welcome you all to this meeting of the Cardinia Shire Council. The meeting opened earlier this evening to consider a confidential business matter, and I now reconvene the meeting. We will commence the meeting with the following reflection. I would ask those gathered to join us now for a few moments of silence as we reflect on our roles in this chamber. Please use this opportunity for reflection, prayer or thought to focus on our shared intention to work respectfully together for the well-being of our whole community. Thank you. The Cardinia Shire Council respectfully acknowledges that we are on the traditional land of the Bunurong and Wurundjeri people and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Can I please have a motion to adopt the minutes of the previous meetings as listed? I have a mover, Councillor Ross, and a seconder, Councillor Kowalczyk. Thank you. All those in favour? I declare that carried. Thank you. Councillors, are there any declarations of interest? I see none. Thank you. So we'll move on to today's items on the agenda, which are as follows. Item 6.1.1, Planning Application T210780-28, Beaconsfield Emerald Road, Beaconsfield Upper. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Owen.
Sorry, Mayor, I move the officer's recommendations. Thanks.
Thank you. May I ask for a seconder? Councillor Springfield. Thank you. I'll go to the mover to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Springfield. So the subject site is a 1,738 square metre site on the eastern side of Beaconsfield Emerald Road on the corner of Halford Street. The proposal is a 3-lot subdivision. I do note there has been 61 submissions in relation to this, and that is quite a high number, 61. I believe 60 of them objected to the application, with 1 in support. Some of the objections included, I'll just go through the report, sorry. Concerns regarding vegetation, whether or not this will change the character of Upper Beaconsfield. What is clear, and the report is very detailed, that this application is in line with the planning scheme, is in line with the Upper Beaconsfield Township strategy, and one of the submissions did say the importance of having diversity in housing. Even though we know Upper Beaconsfield is very unique, it has a village appeal, but the township strategy does talk about the need for diversity in housing and you know, an element of where providing people with an opportunity, if they live in Upper Beaconsfield, if they want to downsize, and an ability to downsize to a smaller block. And this application does propose just that, and it is in line with a number of clauses in the Cardinia planning scheme, in line with the Upper Beaconsfield Township strategy. Halford Street, all being well, will be sealed under a special charge scheme through the Sealing the Hills program. So Halford Street will no longer in the future be a unmade road. It will be a sealed road. So I think that will help alleviate some of the concerns that was raised by the objectors. There are 25 conditions to this application which the officers are putting on this permit. So I think a lot of the concerns raised by the objectors is addressed through conditions, but I acknowledge the 61 submissions. I've read each of them this afternoon, and I do acknowledge some genuine concerns, but I do believe that is addressed through conditions and through it is accepted by the planning scheme and the Upper Beaconsfield Township strategy. So I'll leave it there and I'll ask other people to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. I'll now go to the seconder, Councillor Springfield, to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. And on this agenda item, I support Councillor Owen's position on this. There was a lot of submissions towards objections towards this application, and hence we've gone through and really had a good briefing session on this and gone through all the elements. And look, I think I do appreciate the objections of the residents out there and wanting to maintain character within the neighbourhood, but I don't think this will affect it in an adverse manner. It's also worth noting this is application towards subdivision, so it's not an application of what will be built there or what that may look like in the future. That will be underneath all the conditions when that does, if it does eventually happen, of the planning scheme. And we'll have a process then. We'll have to be a planning process once again for anything is to be developed there. But it's simply at this point in time the application for the subdivision, which right in the centre of town there and behind that historic shop, which is a great burger shop, I might mention at the moment. Anyway, I do support this moving forward. I think it is relative to the plans that we have in the future. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Springfield. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. I would also like to support the officer's recommendation and Councillor Owen with this particular item. Of course, with 61 submissions into a planning issue, we have to take note of the community who have spoken out in this particular point. I've also read a lot of the points that the submitters have made, and of course, as Councillor Owen has suggested, that there was one positive response, which is pleasing to see, no matter about that. But I noticed that there's a removal of 28 trees in this application, and so that would be a concerning factor for the residents of Upper Beaconsfield, where of course it's a very well treed area. So I can understand the concerns of those residents, but I also note of what Councillor Springfield has mentioned. This is only for the subdivision application. It's not for for buildings or anything around those. So I think the objectors, in my view, will be looking at the next stage of this application, which could be the structures that may go on this particular subdivision in the future. So I'm all for this. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Are there any other speakers? No, I will go back to the mover to sum up. Thank you, Councillor Owen.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the other councillors for speaking to this item. Just to reiterate, it is in the centre of town. You really could not be closer, really, to the centre of town. And going back to the Upper Beaconsfield Township strategy, which one of the objectives is to provide diverse housing opportunities to respond to an ageing in place consideration. So this is unique. It is in the centre of town, and I think when you look at the planning scheme, you look at the township strategy, this is appropriate. As said by other councillors, the conditions do address through vegetation concerns. Also, the heritage overlay, that stays with the property when future permits are sought regarding buildings. That overlay will be taken into account to ensure that that heritage building, which is now the restaurant over the road, is still protected, and that any sort of new dwellings, a part of this subdivision, does reflect that and does respect that. So I move so. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now put that to a vote, councillors. All those in favour? I declare that carried. Thank you. Item 6.2.1, Major Projects Yearly Update. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Kowaczyk.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the officer's recommendation. Will be noted.
Thank you. May I have a seconder? Councillor Davies. Thank you. I'll go to the mover to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Davies, for the second. The Major Projects Yearly Update for 2022 provides a unique opportunity for councillors to speak to the community about some state significant projects that are happening in the area. Evidently, you'll probably be aware and you will probably have seen a lot of this construction started, but it is just good to get an update from our perspective, I think, for the community's knowledge, just to know that we're advocating on your behalf and we are having negotiations at an officer and councillor level around some of these projects. Obviously, the level crossing removal projects are a big sort of part of what's going on. From Rail Projects Victoria, we have the Gippsland line upgrades, which I'm sure Councillor Moore will be keen to speak to. We have the Pakenham Community Hospital, which has obviously had some delays, and I'm sure there'll be councillors who wish to speak to that. From a Major Roads Projects Victoria perspective, we have the Hillsville-Coorap Road upgrade, with Pakenham Roads upgrade, including the Hillsville-Coorap Road, McGregor Road Freeway Interchange and Road upgrade, which is long overdue, and of course the Racecourse Road upgrade, which many people who live in Pakenham Hills Ward will be looking forward to, because evidently they get stuck on Racecourse Road a lot. I just wanted to highlight also the Pakenham Main Street Revitalisation Project, which is in Councillor Ryan's ward, but it's actually a Shire significant project. The reason for that is because it's a major action from the Pakenham Major Activity Structure Plan. And obviously it's in its early stages at the moment, but we have had briefs from urban design consultants, just giving us a little bit of information of some of what they're looking at, and some of their ideas that will help revitalise the Main Street and the wider Pakenham Central area, which I know there are a number of councillors passionate and keen to see. I'll leave it there for now, Mayor, and allow other councillors the chance to speak to this item, but it's really important that we highlight the Major Projects Yearly Update so that our community knows the work that we're advocating for on their behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kowaczyk. I'll now go to the seconder to speak, Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Kowaczyk, for withdrawing this item. I think it's fantastic that there is so much investment happening across our Shire that councillors, the organisation has actually established its own major project business unit. And as Councillor Kowaczyk mentioned, of Shire significance is the Pakenham Main Street Revitalisation Project as part of our major activity plan. And pleasingly, this is being done in-house. So unlike the other projects where council is simply a stakeholder, council is actually leading this work. And I'd like to echo Councillor Kowacyk's sentiments that this is exciting, and it's wonderful to be able to be involved. I'd also like to just briefly mention that these projects are being reviewed in line with our council plan and policy implications to ensure that we provide good governance. A range of opportunities for feedback are being sought, and gently massaging and enriching our relationships with the various partners in the different organisations is helping us achieve the best outcomes. Otherwise, I would just like to briefly conclude with a huge thank you to all staff involved, and a huge thank you to every member of the public, of the community that has made the time and effort to engage in consultation. This is what makes our community great. And so my sincere thanks for their time and effort and care. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? Councillor Ryan. Thank you, through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Kowaczyk, for supporting this. I think it's always great to hear about our projects from each councillor and each of their wards. We have touched on a few minor things, but I think we need to elaborate a little bit further that the Main Street in Pakenham has been needing an revitalisation for many, many years. It's a very old township, and it's starting to show its age compared to a lot of other areas that are now growing and have got a newer establishment in newer buildings. Part of Pakenham is part of the history of the shopping area as well, so therefore you are going to get a lot more antique-looking style of heritage shops, which is part of our history, and we don't want to lose part of our history. So revitalisation will be what the design comes out with the team, and but it'll be safe. The footpaths will be safe, and there'll be better traffic flow as well. And the only other one that I want to mention is the Pakenham Community Hospital, because I've had a lot of residents continually ask about it. The Pakenham Community Hospital is being delivered by the Victorian Health Building Authority. The project includes the establishment of a community hospital in Pakenham that will provide a range of integrated health and specialist services. And remember, it's a community hospital, so it won't be open in the evenings. It will be running the services during the daytime. The land has been progressed. However, the landowner, has lodged a legal proceedings in the Supreme Court regarding the application of the public overlay of the land. The action has resulted in the project being delayed. So that would explain to residents now why there has been a delay in it. It is expected, if the legal proceedings are resolved, and the project will move into design phase within early 2023. So that's a great project. There's two great projects. There's lots of other projects that are happening, but I'll let other councillors speak, but I'm in support of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Are there any other speakers? I'll go to Councillor Owen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to talk about the two level crossing removals at Station Street Officer and also the Station Street Beaconsfield level crossing removal. So both of these are causing some real concern in our community. Regarding the officer Station Street Officer, there's real concern about the closure of that without the proceeding with the north-south arterial road, which is the extension of Bayview Road at the highway going south towards Officer South Road and onto the freeway. This proposed road is so essential. It must be delivered before this level crossing removal takes place in Station Street Officer. And I note that as the report suggests, Council is undertaking ongoing advocacy on the timing and funding of that north-south arterial road. This road is a state government responsibility. It is as per the Officer Precinct Structure Plan, which was adopted by the state governments as well, or they approved of it. So it's really important that takes place before that level crossing is removed. There's real concerns around Siding Avenue being used for truck movements, and also the added pressure on Brunt Road. So that is a must. Another one that's making a lot of concern within the Beaconsfield community is the Station Street removal. The concern regarding the impact on the beautiful heritage property at 20 Beaconsfield Avenue. There's concerns around that, real serious community concerns. I know there's a petition. There's also a strong community-led group that was at the Coona Park market, I think a couple of weekends ago. So this is a real concern. And also on the impact of the Cardinia Creek parklands. So Council will continue to advocate for our community on those two issues, because it is unsatisfactory what's proposed for both of those level crossing removals. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Any other speakers? Councillor Moore, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, it's there are some exciting things in this particular item. I must say, as Councillor Kwasik forced me into speaking on this. Look, there's some great things happening, particularly at the Nanagoon Railway Station, which is fantastic. What an upgrade that is there with some sealed car park in there with 50 car park spaces. It's got lighting, CCTV cameras, which has never had before. It's a really great upgrade, and there's got bicycle hoops, and the pedestrian paths as well around that station is well overdue to be done. So I congratulate this report and what the government have done in that space. Of course, as well as that, down further down the line, if I may say down the line, the Gippsland line upgrade at the Bunyip station, Bunyip and Longwarry stations have been also upgraded, and they are a really great addition to the community there. But I was talking to a group the other day about the rail, overhead rail at Pakenham, and they're talking about the state of the beautification, or the lack of beautification, I guess, around that area in Main Street, Pakenham. I speak to my fellow councillor, Councillor Ryan, about this. Of course, I've just told them, just be patient, be patient. If you have a look at that rail now, you'll see the main beams. There's a couple of 3 or 4 columns and some main beams across that, across where Main Street crosses alongside that, which you'll get an idea of the height of where the rail will be across there. So it's going to be something to behold when it's finished. You'll be able to walk right through from one side to another, so the landscaping underneath will be fantastic. I think it will link into the Main Street, so I'm looking forward to that down the track somewhere. I guess that's at the line. But I'm looking forward to that to evolve, and I think it's going to change the whole face of that Pakenham Main Street region, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? I see none, so I'll go back to the mover, Councillor Kowalczyk, to sum up.
Thank you, Mayor, and I want to thank my fellow councillors for their contribution to this item. As we've heard, there are a number of large major projects in progress throughout Cardinia, and they are going to help to improve movement and overall outcomes throughout the Shire, which is a really good outcome. We are very fortunate to be in this position, and we thank the state and federal governments and their agencies for their investment in our little part of the world. There have been a number of wins that councillors and officers have advocated for within these projects, and some of those are noted in the report. That's great to see. There have also been some times when perhaps we haven't been able to get some things across the line that we've wanted, and some other situations where we're still advocating strongly, as Councillor Owen intimated. So it's important to note that. I do think it's relevant that our community be aware and know that we're strongly advocating on their behalf, and they do have a voice with regards to these big projects. Even though council is, I think, for all these projects except for Main Street revitalisation, not the biggest player in the game, we're still able to get ours and our residents' thoughts across into these projects, and so that's really important. Our major projects team will continue to work in partnership with the state government agencies and advocate for the best outcomes for our community. Council officers continue to encourage the community to provide feedback during the consultation phases of this project, and that's so important. And I know there's a resident in the chambers tonight who strongly advocates that residents get involved, other residents get involved in a lot of these state significant projects, and I thank him for that, because when these projects are finished, it's too late for our residents to provide feedback. So it's so important now, during this, whenever you see the state government offer up a chance for consultation, that you take them up on that opportunity. I'll leave it there. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. We will now put this to a vote. All those in favour? I declare that carried. Thank you. Our next item is item 6.2.2, appointment of acting Chief Executive Officer. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Ross, and a seconder, Councillor Davies. Oh, sorry. I'll go to the mover. Are you moving the officer's recommendation?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I rushed that. I'll now go back to you to see if you'd like to speak on the item.
I will. Thank you. I move the officer's recommendation that council appoint the General Manager of Customer, People and Performance, Jenny Cicluna, as the acting Chief Executive Officer for the period of the 12th of December 2022 to the 6th of January 2023 during the leave period by the Chief Executive Officer.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. I'll now go to the seconder to see if you'd like to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. The Chief Executive Officer, Carol Jeffs, is taking a period of well-earned annual leave, and it's therefore necessary for Council to appoint an acting Chief Executive Officer during this period. The report recommends that the General Manager of Customer, People and Performance, Jenny Cicluna, is to be appointed to the role for the period. I'm very happy to support this. Ms. Cicluna has provided some outstanding leadership of this organisation, and we're very lucky that she is willing. So I will be supporting this tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? Councillor Kowalczyk.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Ross, for moving this, and Councillor Davies for speaking to it. Nothing further to add, Mayor, just to simply say that I have full confidence in Jenny Cicluna as our acting CEO, so I'll be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. Any other councillors who would like to speak? I see none, so I'll go back to the mover. Councillor Ross, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I must say, just in closing, that Jenny Cicluna has done an excellent job in many different roles for us here on council through COVID and through times when she's filled many different roles in finance, customer service, and all our people positions. So I must say, I think she'll do a really good job. It's in safe hands. So I look forward to seeing her do the duty of the Chief Executive Officer for that period. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. We'll now put this to a vote. All those in favour? I declare that carried. Thank you. Item 6.2.3, appointment of councillors to Audit and Risk Committee. We have 2 councillors to be appointed as members of the Audit and Risk Committee, and I will call for nominations to fill the first vacancy. Are there any nominations, councillors? Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. You're nodding. Oh, sorry. I'd like to nominate Councillor Cameron for the first position. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have anyone to second that nomination? Councillor Ross. Thank you. Are there any other councillors who would like to nominate? Councillor Kowalczyk.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to nominate for the Audit and Risk Committee position.
Thank you. Can I call for a seconder for Councillor Kowalczyk? Can you second twice? Same nomination? Yes, that's okay. Just wanted to confirm I was okay to do that. Thank you. Councillor Ross. Are there any other councillors who would like to nominate? Councillor Moore.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Stephanie Davies for the position.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Ross. Thank you.
Mayor, may I thank Councillor Moore for the nomination. I would like to be nominated for the second position, but I will politely decline a nomination for the first position. Thank you, Councillor Moore, and thank you, Mayor Radford.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Davies. So we currently have for the first position a nomination for Councillor Kay Cameron. And yes, I'll go to Councillor Kay Cameron.
Thank you, Mayor. I too will not be standing for the first position. I would like to nominate for the second position. Thank you.
Okay. So we currently now have for the first position, Councillor Kowalczyk. Do I dare ask for any other nominations? Right, so that was seconded by Councillor Ross. So that's all good to go. So I'll declare that carried. Councillor Kowalczyk, you have the first position on the committee. Thank you. So moving to the second position, can I please call for nominations? Councillor Ryan.
My apologies, Mayor, I got it wrong. Councillor Cameron for the second position. Thank you.
Thank you. I will call for a seconder, please. Councillor Ross. Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the second position? Councillor Moore.
Yes, Mayor. Can I nominate Councillor Stephanie Davies for the second position, please?
Thank you. Can I call for a seconder? Councillor Owen. Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the second position? Fantastic. Okay, so I will go to Councillor Kay Cameron. You may have up to 3 minutes to speak to your nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I've just got a few words to say. I think there's a need for fresh eyes within the committee, and I'm in the fortunate position to be, regarding work and family, that I will be able to attend all the meetings. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. I will now go to Councillor Davies to have up to 3 minutes to speak to your nomination.
Thank you, Councillor Moore and Councillor Owen, for your nomination and your second. Councillors, I can confirm that I am fortunate to commit to attend all meetings of the Audit and Risk Committee as is scheduled for 2023. The Independent Audit and Risk Committee supports the integrity of our organisation and our council. I am a currently serving member of the committee, and I have diligently performed this work responsibly, and it has meant significant amounts of reading, analysis and questioning the status quo. I have undertaken several training courses over my 2 years on council, upskilling myself in many areas, including governance and financial management. In my 15-year career as a civil and environmental engineer, I have also developed highly proficient numerical and business analysis skill and critical thinking expertise, of which supports my Audit and Risk Committee work. I have engaged in professional coaching and networking activities. I'm a very honest person, and I'm very willing tonight to share publicly one of my personal goals: to increasingly build my skill in providing indirect leadership, providing influence, providing guidance. I'm committed to find ways to work smarter to prevent confrontations when addressing problems. Being an elected government official is an incredible privilege we share. I take extremely seriously our obligation to ensure the highest standards of conduct, accountability, behaviour and transparency. If any concerns were to emerge in an audit or assessment, if ever anything seemed dubious or incomplete or maybe not quite right, you can trust me to notice, and you can trust me to be brave and call things out. Because it's not about me, it's not about us, and sometimes it's not easy, but it's about our community and doing what's right for current and future generations. I ask for your support tonight to endorse me with your trust on behalf of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. So we will now put this to a vote. So we will go by the nomination. So all those in favour of Councillor Cameron, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. I see Councillor Ross and Councillor Ryan. All those in favour of Councillor Davies. Thank you. I see Councillor Owen, Councillor Springfield, Councillor Moore, Councillor Kowaczyk, myself, and obviously Councillor Davies. So I declare Councillor Davies as the appointed member. Thank you. So we are now up to item 6.2.4, update Sealing the Hills program. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Springfield, are you moving the officer's recommendation?
Thank you, Mayor. My apologies. Yes, I would like to move the officer's recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I please call for a seconder? Councillor Owen, thank you. I'll go to the mover to speak, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. So, look, this the recommendation here is just to provide endorsement for the CEO and for officers to continue to advocate for the delivery of the Sealing the Hills project. There's been a lot of talk and consideration in the community over the last month or so, when there's been some ideas. There's some talk in the background about this project not continuing to its full implementation. And look, this is very concerning for our community. We don't know the exact details of what this may look like yet, but ever since we first heard an idea that this would be possibly on the horizon, we've been working diligently in the background to advocate, to seek clarity, and to especially advocate for the worthiness and the merits of this project, which I cannot understate enough. It is this project, when it was first announced by the federal government in 2019, was an amazing opportunity to deliver some needed infrastructure within our hills regions on the unsealed road network for roads that never were built to meet the standards that we would expect today, for drainage systems that were never built to meet the standards we would expect today. And significant funding like this is the only way that we're going to be able to dramatically improve the amenities for all the residents that live up there, for their health and their safety in one of the most highly bushfire prone areas in the country. And the rabbit warren, so to speak, of the network of subdivisions that happened in these areas many, many, many decades ago just do not meet the pub test. They wouldn't meet the standards of today. And really, it's something that council inherited many years ago, but there's never been an opportunity to deliver en masse, fund, the sealing of so many roads. And it's been warmly welcomed so much by the residents up there. So look, I won't speak too much further now, but I just want to say I completely endorse council doing all we can to to advocate and speak to the merits of this project. And I really hope to see that it is funded in the future to its full delivery. And I really hope to see that beyond all else. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Springfield. I will now go to the seconder, Councillor Owen, to speak.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Springfield, for your advocacy on this item and your speech tonight. Council is awaiting the official response from the responsible federal minister. As the report says, we understand there is still $128 million outstanding funding promised to complete the entire Sealing the Hills program. And the funding is really important for the following reasons: sealing hundreds of kilometres of roads, reduce dust and improve livability for the locality, deliver essential improvements to road safety, improve access to our schools and community facilities, and improve access for our residents, tourists and members of emergency services. So I fully support this. There is really genuine concern across the northern part of our Shire, mainly it's fair to say in Rangers Ward and Beacon Hills Ward, and there's real concern regarding the future of these proposed upgrades. Tonight, there's another item, major projects report 6.5.2 will be voted on shortly, but these roads under the Sealing the Hills program is in question. So that is Mount Burnett Road, also Matters Road in Burks Creek Road, Shoughton Road, Tumuck Valley Road, Thulis Road, Dickey Road in Officer Upper Beaconsfield, Telegraph Road in Upper Beaconsfield. These roads are in significant risk and there is real concern from the community, particularly regarding those roads and obviously the special charge schemes and Cockatoo. I know they'll be absolutely devastated if this money does not continue to flow through as per the original commitment. So I support council's advocacy in this. We need to make a noise. We need to, as Councillor Springfield said earlier this evening or this afternoon, we have to reach out to the new members of Mumbolk and the new member for Pakenham. We need to really convey our concerns, our community's concerns regarding the future of this much needed program. We need to do that. So I move so as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Any other councillors who wish to speak? Councillor Kovacic.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and I'll be brief. I think my two fellow councillors have spoken very well tonight. I just want to issue some thank yous on behalf of the rest of the council group. I just wanted to thank two council officers, Peter Benezik and David Feiss, who have done a power of work, and I know there will have been other officers involved too, but they're the two who we deal with on a more regular basis. I also want to thank our former Mayor, Councillor Jeff Springfield, and yourself, Mayor Tammy Radford, for your hard work, and also Brett Owen. A number of councillors have been passionate about this project. A number of councillors have advocated for this project, but I think our two, Councillor Owen and Councillor Springfield, spoke passionately and respectfully about this. I just wanted to say some thank you, because there are some people in this organisation who have carried the load with this project, and I think it's really important they should be acknowledged.
Thank you, Councillor Kovacic. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? Councillor Ross. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Talking about this, the needs have never been greater for sealing roads, and I think all levels of government need to look at this and address this to the best of their ability. The people are really struggling, and we've just had the wettest year that I can remember, and the roads are in terrible condition. So this is really pertinent, this sort of thing, providing the funding to seal the hills. The area and I support getting the money from wherever we need to. If it's off the new government, so be it. It needs to be. I always struggle with the promises when people promise before an election, if they win government, in the next 9 years, we would deliver, if we keep winning government over and over and over again, these sort of promises. Particularly in this case, where it's left a whole lot of people, led them down the pathway of disappointment, as was pointed out by my fellow councillors. There's some roads that were going to be constructed through this funding that have already been told, which possibly wouldn't be constructed anymore because the funding is going to cease. Well, at the moment, it appears like it might cease. We've gone to advocate the best we can to try and get the new government to give the money. Now, what we got left with as a council, and I can remember when it got sent through before the 2019 election, that we had no detail around this space. We were going to have $150 million given to Cardinia Shire Council. At first, it was over a 10-year period, and then it was over a 9-year period. Except to deliver that promise, you actually had to win the next at least 3 elections or 4 elections and win government to deliver and have the budget. Unfortunately, as we know, that didn't happen. It happened for 1 term. So in the first term of the government, we appear to have had $22 million out of the 150 delivered. Now the new government needs to continue that promise and deliver the rest of it. Unfortunately, through all of this, the residents get left with unsealed roads. We don't know what's going to happen. We've tried to do the best we can with our mayor and our deputy mayor going to Canberra to advocate with the new government to try and get it delivered. But there's a whole lot of people out there who desperately need their roads improved. We as a council do everything we can in our ability to do it. We even borrowed $20 million to try and upgrade the roads ourselves. And we only take basically 3 or 4% of taxes in this country. You know, federal government brings in nearly 80% of the money. State government brings in probably 75%. State government brings in about 20-something%. We bring in about 3 or 4. So we've borrowed $20 million to try and upgrade these roads, coupled with other groups that have got billions of dollars. I sincerely hope we can get some resolution to this. The people need the roads to be fixed. We need people to listen, whether it's through this, but the money needs to come to continue it on because those people need help. And as a council, we're advocating the best we can. So I hope we're successful. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? I see none, so I'll go to the mover, Councillor Springfield, to sum up, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to my fellow councillors for their supportive words. And it means a lot to hear everybody which is behind this project. And, you know, I believe this council is completely behind this project, as was the federal government when they delivered it. And look, and I must note that both major parties leading into 2019 federal election both committed to this project. So both of them. It wasn't a partisanship. It was yeah. Look, my hope is that there is that there's more speculation and rumor around this, surrounding what this may look like, rather than actual facts towards it. And we're yet to see any. We're yet to hear that clarity. We have been in discussions with the Department of Infrastructure there. So I sincerely hope that that the Department of Infrastructure can understand before making any final decisions on what this project may look like, and understand the relevance and the importance of this project and what it delivers that won't be delivered otherwise. And I would welcome anybody in Canberra or anyone working in the bureaucratic offices of these departments here to come and take a journey through the roads of Cockatoo and Upper Beaconsfield, through especially some of these roads in Cockatoo, after we've experienced so much wet weather on the hillsides on these slopes that were never built to a standard that we would find appropriate today, and what these residents have to live through on a daily basis. And I would ask them to then have a consideration towards if they think this funding should continue or not. But I thank you for your support, councillors. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Councillor Springfield. We will now put this to a vote. All those in favour? I declare that carried. Thank you. Oops, sorry about that. Item 6.4.1, Contract 22-029, Immunisation Service Tender Outcome. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the Council Officer recommendations.
Thank you. Can I call for a seconder, please? Councillor Ross. Thank you. I'll go to the mover to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight's recommendation is that Council notes the outcome of the tender and selects Kerno Environmental Services Proprietary Limited to be awarded Contract 22-029 for the period of the 2023 to 2025 financial years for the total contract price of $934,633.34. The functions of this tender will include immunising community members eligible for free vaccinations under the National Immunisation Program, focusing on children up to 4 years of age, immunising secondary school students, assessing clients' immunisation histories and developing dedicated individual catch-up programs, collecting and maintaining data collection, including updating the Australian Immunisation Register Service, planning and providing advice to the councils on the immunisation service needs in response to any national program changes or other service demands, and maintaining service quality and ensuring provider best practice. Excuse me. I'm delighted to read that this has come in under budget as well. As I've used the council's immunisation services in the past to assist me with keeping my children on the immunisation schedule. And I'm very confident that a detailed assessment and investigation has followed, and the evaluation plan and criteria has been objectively considered, and that I have full confidence tonight in endorsing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. I'll now go to the seconder, Councillor Ross, to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an excellent service that's provided by Council. One of our over 100 services that we deliver. As we've just been through probably the toughest time that our country will hopefully ever know through illness, that we saw that vaccinations are just so important. And for people who know the history before vaccinations came about, people who had no immunity to different things just struggled and died. It's like when migrants came to Australia or immigrants came to Australia, the Indigenous people here had no immunity to the things that we brought to this country. And if you look around the world, what does happen to disease in relation to polio and things like that without vaccination? It's just a really, really cruel world. I think it's excellent that Council, being the closest level of government to the people, delivers projects like this. And I think it's great that Council can be the ones who put out the tender and follow up on the service as well. I think it's great that our young people, we have some direct alignment with our kindergartens and with our young people and the service delivered by Council. So I just think this is another thing that many people in the community probably don't know, one of the services that Council delivers, and this is one of them. And it's a big contract, $934,000. So I think it's excellent. I've never heard anyone complain about our people who give out our vaccinations. I think they do a wonderful job. Must be a tough job, although you be a nurse, so you probably know, as Councillor Ryan and Councillor Kay Cameron know, we're both nurses, that when you give your vaccinations, some do it really well and you don't even know you're being vaccinated, and other people, you feel like you're being thumped in the shoulder. But anyway, I'm sure they do a great job, and I look forward to hearing no bad results from it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak to this item? I see none, so I'll go back to the mover to sum up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Ross, for your second and your comments. I confirm that tonight we are in endorsing this contract. We are meeting our obligations of the Public Health and Wellbeing Act, And the considerable savings were achieved under a shared services tender that Cardinia Shire Council with City of Casey collaborated and issued a joint request for tender. So there's a recommendation in this report which actually suggests to other councils that this was a highly efficient method of procurement, and a fantastic part of local government is just the sheer collaboration and teamwork and the connection to community and the want to do things better that comes out of this. So I want to thank all staff involved, especially for making a budgetary savings, $300,000 that can be used, but in many places, as we will debate as we work through the budget for next year. So tonight I confirm I'm seeking your support to endorse the tender as per the council's recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. We will now put this to a vote. All those in favour? I declare that carried. Thank you. Item 6.5.1, Community Engagement Update. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council notes the community engagement activities that have been undertaken this month.
Thank you. Can I call for a seconder, please? Councillor Ross. Thank you. I'll go to the mover to speak, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Ross, for seconding the motion. It's been a very busy month. As all councillors know, we are actively engaging on council's budget for the next financial year. This has included a series of pop-up events right across the Shire. I would like to speak briefly and just thank council's community engagement team. Just last month, one of the staff members, one of the team leaders in the division attended a residents group meeting with myself and provided an incredibly well-received overview of community engagement. How does it work and why do we do it the way we do? Council uses the IAP2 spectrum of public participation and we strive to empower the community's decision makers, not to inform but to empower, which is the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm very excited to be part of a council that sets such a high standard for community engagement and applies the science and applies the best practice. So I support the officer's recommendation that council notes the report and invite councillors to speak on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. I'll now go to the seconder, Councillor Ross, to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. This is one of the very most important parts of being on a local council, is engaging with the community and trying to understand what their needs are and how we can deliver that, and finding out off them what extra eyes are in the community to give us advice on what they're seeing that we mightn't see. I believe that we do this well. I believe that we're always trying to improve this area and do best practice. I believe our officers we send out, from my experience, do an excellent job connecting with the community. I know during the bushfires, it was absolutely outstanding in this area when we had many officers who walked around taking notes from anybody who had any complaints. And the delivery back was absolutely amazing, how they just delivered the answers ongoing. And council dedicated during that time, I think there was something like 50 or 60 staff that we dedicated off their normal duties to go and just deal with the bushfires. So anyway, I've seen this in action. We do an amazing job in this area, and I think we deliver in spades. I hope that we just keep doing what we've been doing and keep upgrading our policy in this area and looking for better ways to connect with the community. It is a very, very interesting area, this area, because you go back 20 years ago, we didn't connect on the internet. We didn't do, forums or anything like that in those spectrums, but our community engagement team have to look for all different ways to communicate with the community now, not just in person, but online, in questionnaires, and trying to find out how they can get answers off the community. I think they do a great job. I look forward to seeing our engagement in future. And for anyone who reads our reports, usually you will see the community engagement part of our reports on what's been happening in that area, so how we've tried to connect with the community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak on this item? I see none, so I'll go to the mover to sum up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Ross, for the second and your comments. I would like to confirm in closing that online via our Creating Cardinia webpage, the community can provide comments in regarding to the council budget round 1 of engagement if they don't come across us at one of our numerous engagement pop-up events across the Shire. So this phase of communication, it's open until the 16th of December, upon which responses will be collated and considered, debated, and then the next round will be available early in 2023. I'll re-echo what I said before and just my sincere gratitude to all members of the community that take the time to engage with us in the platforms when this information is being sought. Obviously, we value customer service phone calls any time of year, but it's fantastic when we can get engagement right, get the insights we need at the right time, and really empower our community in our council. So, councillors, I wish to confirm that I am seeking your vote tonight to note the officer recommendations, which is the noting the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. We'll now put this to a vote. All those in favour? I declare that carried. Thank you. Item 6.5.2, Major Projects Report. Can I ask for a mover, please? Councillor Ross, are you moving the officer's recommendation?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Can I please call for a seconder? Councillor Moore, thank you. I'll go to the mover to speak. Councillor Ross.
I move the officer's recommendation that this note be that this council note this report. I've got my words back before. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you. I'll now go to the seconder to speak. Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Ross, for withdrawing this item. Can I speak about a couple of items on this what I call the progress report of our council? A couple of items. I'm very excited at the moment about this Tynong Road footpath that's been on my list, been on the list for a long, many years on the communities list of Tynong. It's always mentioned that the Progress Association is number 1 on the list generally, and I note that it's on the top of the list of the paths next to be built in Tynong from Quigley Road right up to the highway. So it's been long coming. So I'm proud as punch to see that on the list. I'd just like to mention the Narnagoon Football Reserve, the redevelopment of the ground, the surface, the football service and cricket service. It's well on track. It's a very big project there, and even under the weather conditions that they've experienced over the last particularly 3 months, I don't need to explain that if you know what rain is. We've had a lot of it, and it's really been hindering that progress of that particular construction site. But it's well on track, back on track now. So it's ready to be finished in February next year. So it's really good to get that ground back into shape and ready for the up and coming football season. And after that, it'll be the cricket season after that. The only other one I've got is the Bunyip Rec Reserve soccer and cricket field redevelopment, which is another exciting thing that's happening in Bunyip Ward at the minute. So the site preparation works has been completed along with the 50% of the off-field infrastructure. So it's works to be finished in February 23 next year. So for Bunyip Ward, February 23 is going to be a big month. I wonder whether the path in Tynong might be built by that time. Mr. Venesic will advise me afterwards, I'm sure. It'd be nice to have that because it'd be a big month in the Bunyip Ward in February next year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Sounds like a party in February 23 in Bunyip. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Just wanted to mention the Cardinia Youth Hub. I've been keeping a valid check on it every couple of days and taking photos and seeing the progress and speaking to the workmen there. Yes, the rain has delayed time after time for those reasons. We're having too much rain around all areas, but it's still progressing really, really well. And I think that the workmen there are just jumping to the challenge to try and get this project as quickly finished as possible so that our youth can get out there and utilise the spaces that they deserve and will be entitled to have for a long time coming. So that's all I wanted to speak on. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Any other councillors who would like to speak? I see Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may speak briefly on Officer District Park, this park is one of excitement. I do hear from the community, or when is that happening? Is that still happening? There is plans for 2 stages of construction, a multi-purpose open space precinct. It'll include a playground, a skate park, walking tracks, a dog park, wetlands, a lookout, parkour, mountain boarding trails, restrooms, and did I say car park? But there's been a lot of challenges, and I do want to acknowledge that unfortunately sometimes in construction things don't go well, and pretty much every challenge there seems to have been thrust upon the project team, and I do thank them for their resilience. Earlier in the year we heard that expected funding didn't go through, and there's also been hiccups in terms of construction. Are there tenderers available? Are there materials available? And the most recent tender process, which would have got construction started on stage 1 in before the end of the calendar year, actually found that a construction partner wasn't able to be found to deliver within the budget due to the difficult market conditions. So the scope of the project is again being reviewed, and it is expected that a new request for tender will go back out in the new year, with construction to hopefully commence mid-2023. Obviously, this is an ideal outcome, but I do want to thank everyone involved. I want to encourage everyone to keep their chin up, and let's keep working together to get this one delivered for our community, because it'll be well worth it. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? I see Councillor Owen.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to talk about the much needed project of the Upper Beaconsfield Reserve. This is definitely a much needed project for Upper Beaconsfield, and it is Upper Beaconsfield's turn for a improved pavilion here. So as the report says, the proposed demolition of the Upper Beaconsfield Pavilion and reconstruction of a new community sporting and scouts facility. The project is partially funded by the Australian and Victorian governments and council. Project time frames are to be finalised once full project funding is obtained. So what's that space? So a traffic assessment of the reserve has been completed. So that is definitely really important for this project, is to get a really good understanding of the traffic movements, because we know that this facility will be utilised by a number of community groups, whether it's the sporting, the equestrian, the school community, the scouts as well. So it is a very busy rec reserve, so to get the traffic assessment done. So I look forward to this project progressing. We did talk about the roads programs in the other item, and we note that this report details the various stages that the roads programs is at, but we do note the federal government, we need some clarification regarding that. But what's really important is the council funded program, which is the strategic road sealing program. So this program is not impacted by the federal government concerns. This is a council fully funded program, the strategic road sealing. So that's obviously McGregor Road. It's great to see McGregor Road. Look, I think it is finalised. A great strategic road, McGregor Road, another alternative to Cardinia Road, very, very important. So Thulis Road, Huxville Road, Door Road, Bessie Creek Road, and there's others on the program. So at least we can continue with that council program, which is 25 kilometres of roads across the Shire, those strategic road sealing. So the report provides an update regarding the stages of each of those roads. So I just wanted to highlight those. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? I see none, so I'll go back to the mover, Councillor Ross. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I forgot to share my insights into the report when I first noted it, over jumbling of the words that I had. I would actually like to highlight one thing in particular, the IYU reserve. That is an absolute shining light in our reserves in Cardinia Shire. And it is used, it's great to see facilities used to the extent that this facility is used. It's got the soccer club there. It has the Sikh festivals, which are run quite a few for the year. And for those who don't realise, I live nearby, so I drive past it on a regular basis, daily basis, many times. But they have literally thousands of people turn up to their festivals. And one of the sports that they play there is called Kabaddi. And Kabaddi is beamed back live to over 400,000 people in India live, because it's a professional sport like AFL. They use this facility absolutely all the time, between the soccer club, residents who go over there to use the synthetic soccer ground as well. But we're going to have the athletics track built there. And for anyone who's seen our Pakenham athletics track, they've had it there for, I believe, over 40 years. It's been well used. Unfortunately, when you get weather like we've just had, it gets really, really wet, and it's really not purpose built anymore for what we need it for. And the club really struggles to attract people to come along. And it's time that we do have a regional facility in this area. We will have a 10-lane all-weather facility. And if you've been to Casey to see where the Berwick Football Club is, behind there, it's the similar track. It's absolutely excellent. You go for a run on there, it's rubberised, so it's not as hard on your legs. We will have to wait for something in the space of a pavilion, but we will have a temporary sort of one put in place while that happens. But this reserve is absolutely wonderful. Council have done an amazing job there. It doesn't matter how wet it gets, how much it rains, that facility does not go underwater down at IYU, even though the creek next door does. So it's been done amazingly well. It's used by literally thousands of residents. And I must say, there's a recreational side to this too that isn't for structured play. Anyone who goes down there will see people walking, jogging. They'll take their kids down there on a hot night and they'll all play soccer together. They'll put up all the different witches' hats on the facility. I think it's absolutely amazing that it's used all the time, and it's great to see residents using it. I look forward to seeing the athletics club get excited about something. A new facility, and it should be built. The surface of it should be done in early 2023. The infill grass by mid 2023, so it'll be up and running for next season for sure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Mayor.
No problem. Thank you, Councillor Ross. We'll now put this to a vote. All those in favour? I declare that carried. So that concludes discussion of the agenda items tonight. We are now moving on to councillor reports. Are there any councillors with matters to report? Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk.
Thank you, Mayor Radford. I'll kick the ball off rolling tonight. I attended the Victorian Safe Communities Network workshop at the Cardinia Cultural Centre. Really, really beneficial. Obviously, we're continuing to work through the development of our new community safety policy, which this council unanimously supported. Thank you, councillors, for your support of that. It's wonderful to see council fully invested in the future of a safer Cardinia. And as we continue to develop that policy, the learnings that are coming from that are really fantastic, particularly around the need to strategically reevaluate existing programs to measure and improve their effectiveness. So a lot of learnings from that. I also attended, along with our Mayor and Councillor Moore, the Cardinia Community Leadership Program graduation. When you invest in your local people, like the people involved in this leadership program, your return on your investment ripples throughout the whole community. And of course, the most commonly cited example we have is you, Mayor Radford, one of the alumni of that wonderful program, but there was a number of other alumni there that night, and I want to thank them for their work in the community and for attending. And lastly, I just want to talk about Pakenham Carols by Candlelight. It was a fantastic event that I attended with our family. I note our Mayor did a wonderful job opening it, and also Councillor Moore was there too. It was really good to see the councillors who came down to that We had council's youth team there early, entertaining the kids. We had Aligned Leisure who were there, who obviously run Cardinia Life in our pools. Pakenham Football Club, they ran the canteen. We had the scouts there. Our CFA was there. VicPol were there to keep people safe. We had our SES there. A whole host of local organisations were there. And most importantly, we had over 4,500 people, I think, which is just an amazing result. When you think about the last couple of years we've had, and I guess how hesitant some people in our community have been to come back together, when I was there, it really blew me away. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone involved, but particularly Kristen Jackson for her hard work in organising the event and bringing our Pakenham community together in such a way. It's been a long time for me to go to an event that big. I don't know, maybe not since the last Yakaboo or something like that, where we had so many people all together. You know, people who are genuinely a part of the Pakenham community. You know, we're such a big community now, such a big Shire now, that we really miss opportunities like that. So to see that go off and for it to be enjoyed by so many people was just a real highlight for me. I'll leave it there. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. Are there any other councillors with matters to report? Councillor Davies, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It has been a big month to finish a big year. I'd like to acknowledge and congratulate the newly elected member for Pakenham, Emma Bullen, and acknowledge the election of an Andrews Labor government for Victoria. I look forward to developing strong and respectful relationships with Emma and her counterparts in the other seats. And it's my hope that we can work together in our privileged elected official positions and serve our community to the highest standard. I'd also like to congratulate our former MP, Jordan Crugnali, on her re-election to the state of Bass. Due to redistribution, she'll no longer share the same residence as I do, or constituents, but I have appreciated the support of her staff when redirecting resident inquiries to her office. Thank you and congratulations, Jordan. And I also want to acknowledge the incredible panel of candidates that nominated in Cardinia. There were several kind, clever, committed people who weren't able to be elected, and I would like to publicly wish these candidates well for 2023 and beyond. This week, for the period of the 12th to the 18th of December, is Nurse Practitioner Week. There are only 2,500 nurse practitioners across Australia, and I personally don't know any who live or work in Cardinia. And whilst this profession is small in numbers, it's a specialty and it's growing. These are highly skilled clinical nurses who can, when working in their full scope of practice in healthcare, provide wound care, referrals, health assessment, prescriptions, and a healthcare model with continuity of care. Our health system is under huge pressure, and I also want to take this time to thank Cardinia's nurses, midwives, doctors, and allied health staff and their administration and support staff for that work they do. My own mother is a registered nurse working in aged care, and she's past burnt out, and it's heartbreaking. I know there's concerning trends right across the sector. So to our health services workers and emergency service workers in general, thank you for your work. It is appreciated. Today is HR Day. So fortunately it was 19 years ago, but I will never forget what it's like to be a year 12 and end up with a number. And to all the students across Cardinia, you're so much more than your number. A huge congratulations on your achievements, and please be proud of your efforts. These students have lived and learned through a pandemic. They've worked so hard, and they're now about to join the workforce, join adulthood, join tertiary learning, and hopefully some well-earned rest and reflection time. And your best years are ahead. So to all the 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds with very strange feelings, yeah, my congratulations to you all. I also want to thank the Lakeside Residents Group for their amazing Christmas event, where at Circuit Park, numerous children, including mine, enjoyed badge making, colouring, gingerbread decorating, Animals of Oz, outdoor games, delicious food, and Santa in a gift bag. A huge thank you to the volunteers and also the local businesses who donated prizes, equipment, and food. Two of Lakeside's finest are part of the gallery in the meeting tonight. I'm privileged to know you both, and thank you for the work you do. And finally, as we're winding up for the year, I want to thank the volunteers across the Shire in general, likewise to those who work within the Shire and deliver the goods and services. I would like to wish the general community a safe and happy Christmas, and also want to acknowledge and thank Cardinia's council officers for their commitment to our organisation and community. Thank you, and thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? Councillor Cameron, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. 2 weeks ago, I made a trip out to French Island with the Western Port Biosphere group. It was a wonderful day out there to see the projects that are going ahead. They have a koala population in the thousands, and they have a great feral cat program going on. The Western Port Biosphere are putting together a garden, community garden out there. And yeah, the locals, I think there's about 130 people that live on the island. It's national park and DELP land. They don't answer to any council, and you have to catch the ferry or the mail boat across from Coronella. So it was a really good day out just to see how the Western Port Biosphere are working in the area to promote fauna and flora. Last Friday night I attended the Lang Lang carols by candlelight, and there was about 3,000 people at the carols. It was amazing, and it was a really good night. Unfortunately, really cold. But yeah, everybody got set up by about 5:30 and the carols started at 6. So it was a really good night. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Are there any other councillors? Thank you, Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Again, it's always nice to hear what other councillors are doing, and this is a very busy time for all of us, that our diaries would be very full besides our other work commitments elsewhere. I attended our workshop mental health action team meeting at in Pakenham, and that's collated back to what the team was all about when we started it in 2016. So we're now under a new name, which is fantastic. A lot more power behind the identities and the experience that's coming with the people within the teams that are working within our team. And we hope to achieve an awful lot in getting a lot of information out there and working with the ministers and trying to get some more mental health services out here that we deserve, we've earned, and it's time. So that was one mental health workshop. The next mental health workshop, I was lucky enough to be the host with 2 of our other officers, and this workshop was in reference to, I got to choose up to 10 people within our community. So it was about community consultation, but it was also getting them involved in mental health services and what we need out here, what the community feels that we're lacking. Now, this particular group I chose was senior group and veterans, because it's in the Royal Commission that it was addressed that that wasn't achieved to the extent it should be. So it's been well recognised and well documented, and the information that's collated from this workshop will be now going to the Victorian mental wellbeing plan. So we will be contributing with this group in the workshop. We will be contributing to a lot that ideas and thoughts and what's been lacking. And we had some very active seniors that were very passionate about it. So that was a really great, productive situation. I was at the Christmas carols, but I was sitting right down the back, and so it was absolutely fantastic to see so many people enjoy themselves, and it was such a wonderful night too. Not wet, not cold, probably a little bit hot, but other than that, it was all right. On the 6th of December, we had senior network group Christmas party. Councillor Moore joined us for the first time. So we travel around from all different wards, and again, it's about activities, it's about health and wellbeing, and it's about contributing to the community and showing the community that seniors really can do. They've got so much energy that they want to get out there and just share it with our youth and anyone else that wants to share any knowledge and skills. It runs on a monthly basis, and the team is fantastic. The Women's Friendship Cafe went to their Christmas luncheon the other day. Absolutely wonderful integration of multicultural women that have been in very, very awkward situations in their lives, and how far they've come through going to the cafe, but also learning some new things from living and learning as well, and working with some of the retirement villages and the students at the moment. So so I've been pretty active, but I'm a silent achiever, and I hope that, you know, we achieve what we need to achieve in council. I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everybody. Thank you to staff. Thank you to our residents. Thank you to our volunteers. And I thank everyone that contributes to our council. And I'll look forward to catching up with you all next year.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? I see Councillor Moore. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'd like to follow on from my fellow councillor, Councillor Ryan. It was a really great day we had the other day in this building with the seniors celebrating here. We had a lot of games there on that day. It was really good. It was beautifully run by Kelly Burdak, who actually ran the games and ran the day. So it was congratulations to the staff who did a really good job in that spot. And while I'm congratulating the staff, I do want to point out Ms. Jackson, Kristen Jackson, who did a fantastic job at the Carols by Candlelight. It is a lot of pressure to run an event that is so complicated with 4,000 odd people in attendance, and it was a great night to see our councillors there and be there to support you, Mayor. And the fireworks were absolutely fantastic. So to put a show like that down on the ground was such a great job. I don't understand why Ms. Jackson's got a bit of time off at the moment, because she'll be getting over it still, I'm sure. But can I just indulge for one moment to say that I've got a couple of things that are happening in the future, because this is our last meeting, Mayor, and I just wanted to get this across that we've got some special things coming. The Garfield Christmas Festival in Garfield is on next Friday, this Friday, the 16th. So it's in Garfield. It's a big night. So it's in the afternoon, 5 o'clock. Fireworks at the end of the night at the Garfield Rec Reserve. So it's a really big event. So I employ everybody to go there, because it's a really great night to go, and financially supported by council as well, which is fantastic for that company, for that group. And the other thing that a lot of people won't know, that we have Santa Claus that comes to Pakenham. And it has a lot of helpers, little elves and helpers around the place. So on the 22nd of December, just be prepared, because Santa Claus is coming to town. I'll sing it if you want, but I think we have no time. But so I'll look forward to that, because I think it's a really great thing to have Santa Claus coming to town, and supported by the local community there, a small group who look after that. So it's and I get involved in it somehow. So it's a really good thing to have. So just be prepared for that, because there'll be lollies and things like that, and whatever happening on the day. So it's bring the kids down, Councillor Kowalczyk, to that, because it's really worth having. But I just thought I'd let you know that's what's happening. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, councillors, and I wish everybody a Merry Christmas or two from the community, and look forward to seeing them all in the next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? I see Councillor Owen.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, councillors, for your reports. Just want to, I missed the November council meeting during some leave I had. I just wanted to inform council that On the 26th of October, I attended the Pakenham Bush Church Aid Thanksgiving service, which was also their 65th birthday of Bush Church Aid in Pakenham. So that was a great service, and it was great to acknowledge 65 years of that Pakenham group. This was held at the St James Anglican Church in Pakenham Road, but well done to the Pakenham Bush Church Aid for their 65 years of service and raising funds for mainly emergency sort of relief across Australia. Also, I just wanted to mention the Community Capital Works Grants Evening, which Council ran on the 26th of October. That was a really good night, and a number of councillors did attend, but it's a really good night to acknowledge those many volunteers that go through a massive amount of effort. It is difficult to apply for a council grant. It is not easy, but these Community Capital Works grants improve council community assets. So well done to those groups that got a grant, and it was great to celebrate that achievement. Just want to acknowledge on the 19th of November, I attended the Pakenham Auto Club 50th birthday celebrations. That club is 50 years old, and they're amazing. They've got hundreds and hundreds of members, and we need to always remember that they are a very important club that we need to continue to help them achieve their permanent home in Cardinia. And I know there's still things that need to take place regarding planning permits, etc., but we need to make sure that they get their permanent home, their permanent accommodation. But it was really great to celebrate 50 years of that club's history. And there was probably a handful of people that were there on the night that were the inaugural members. So it was great to hear from them as well and learn about their experiences. So that was really good. And I just want to acknowledge there's been some really good carol events across Cardinia and many still to come. But unfortunately, the Beaconsfield Carols by the Creek has had to cancel their carols, which was meant to be on the 18th of December, this coming Sunday. But because of the real wetness of Bob Burgess Reserve in Beaconsfield, and we know this week's going to get worse, so that is being cancelled because unfortunately there was no other alternative venue in Beaconsfield available for that, unfortunately. But I look forward to next year's carols all being well, and that will be the 4th year that we've waited for this Carols by the Creek in Beaconsfield. There's been 2 online events and then the council event this year. So thank you to those volunteers that work so hard to organise these events, but unfortunately this year's event will be cancelled, but I do look forward to next year's. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? I see none. So thank you everybody for your reports. It's very much appreciated. I will now ask councillors, do you have any petitions that you would like to present? I see none. Thank you. So we will move on to community question time. We have received a question from Karen Jeffrey regarding her concerns with stormwater drainage in Gembrook. Is Miss Jeffrey in the gallery? I unfortunately don't see Miss Jeffrey in the gallery, so we will forward an answer to her question via email. Thank you. We have also received 2 questions from Rosa Santo. Is Miss Santo present in the gallery? I see you. Acknowledge that you're here. Thank you. I will refer your questions to Jenny Cicluna, the Acting Chief Executive Officer, to read and answer. Thank you, Ms. Cicluna.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your questions, Ms. Santo. Your first question is regarding the cost of attendance by the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor at the National General Assembly of Local Government earlier in the year. In response, I advise that this question from you was read and answered at the July 2022 Council meeting, and I refer you to the minutes of that meeting for the details. But in short, the answer given in July was that the total cost was $5,684.36. Ms. Santo, your second question refers to the expenses incurred by Councillor Ross relating to an investigation into his travel expenses and asks why Council will not reimburse this cost. In answer to the question, I advise that Council has previously resolved not to reimburse Councillor Ross's legal expenses. I won't presume to speak on behalf of the elected councillors to the reasons why, but you may care to refer to the webcast of the June or November council meetings when motions regarding this matter were previously considered and debated. I do not consider that there is any direct correlation between the cost of the Canberra conference and Councillor Ross's expenses.
Thank you, Ms. Cluner. Okay, so that concludes tonight's meetings. And before closing, I would like to wish all councillors, staff and our residents a very happy Christmas and a safe and prosperous new year. The council will take a break and will resume meeting in February next year. And I now declare the meeting closed. Thank you.